Yeah, so my art teacher back in high school hated me. I know a lot of us have art teachers that we can't stand, but how many of you guys also had that same art teacher be your neighbor? Yeah. So my high school art teacher was actually my neighbor, not directly next to me, but also not directly in front of me. So she lived not in front of me, but next to the house in front of me, if that makes sense. And she lived there, and I lived in my house, and we've been neighbors for almost 10 years by the time I reached high school. And like any good suburban USA subdivision, we never really spoke to our neighbors. All we did was like kind of observe one another as we went about our life. And I vaguely understood over the 10 years as a child that she had two children that were younger than me. And flash forward to high school. By the time I met her formally and actually got to like meet her name and like even though we've been living next to each other, by the time I got to this point, which by the way, I never ever intended to take an art class. I was actually forced to be in this art class. They put me in it and I tried to remove it. They wouldn't let me. So now I'm stuck taking art. Didn't want to, but here we are. I guess it was fate because now I do art professionally. But yeah, by the time I met her, I said, "Hi, nice to meet you. I think we're neighbors." And she's like, "Oh yeah, you guys live over there." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." I always see you guys with the sweet boys. How are your two sweet boys? How are they doing? And like her face darkened, and I realized I must have said something wrong. Mind you, I'm like 15 at the time, never talked to this woman. And she was like, actually, whatever her daughter's name is a girl. Oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I mean, I've only ever seen you guys from like kind of afar. I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, how are your sweet girls? But by that point, I tried to recover. By that point, the conversation's lost. This is a very first conversation ever. And I think from that point onwards, she despised me. So for every day for 3 years, I didn't take art in freshman year, but in sophomore year, I was forcefully put into that class. And then from sophomore year to senior year, I took an art class with her. So every day for practically 3 years, she picked on me, put me on the spot, would always try to put me on blast or something, talk about drama with me, whatever she's hearing, and try any way she can embarrass me in front of the class, she would. I remember this one situation in particular. We were like, she told us to discuss in small groups in the class, talk about what it felt like to be marginalized and like what does that mean to you and like what is it like examples of being marginalized in your everyday life or whatever. Mind you, I went to school in the middle of nowhere, okay? Literally our school was built on top of a cow pasture, like this huge cow pasture. So this is some school in the middle of nowhere and probably 90% of the school was white, okay? And I am like literally the one black girl in the class. And like, usually at my school we had like in any different given class, it'd be like no more than 5 of us in any class. More likely 3, maybe one other black kid would be in the class with you. Maybe one Hispanic kid would be in the class. And Asian kids, you can forget about it because there's probably like 5 Asian kids in our entire school, like 5.5. So yeah, I wasn't particularly eager to speak to the group of pretty popular girls about my experience being marginalized. So I remember in the small group distinctly, I just told them, "Oh, I've never felt any type of way," and they seemed to really like that answer. But like I just told them I never felt any type of way. I didn't want to discuss it with them. Didn't want to discuss this at all. Like, period. Now, tell me why, when we go back to opening the discussion to the whole class, she manages to choose 3 of us, and I won't ever forget it. She chose the Muslim girl, the only Muslim girl that I know of at our school at the time. She chose her to explain further her situation. She chose the openly gay kid, and she chose me, the only black kid in that classroom. And she kind of let the other two kind of like move on, like skate by. Like, I don't even remember what they said, but she chose me, and she wouldn't let me just move on and just say like, no, I don't know, I don't know, I've never felt that way, whatever. And she's like, you sure? You sure? And I remember I just told her, like, I had to, like, cringely tell her, like, oh, I feel a type of way about my hair sometimes. And I remember the gay kid, he was actually my friend. And I remember us, like, both cringing in each other's arms about her putting us on the spot like that in front of everyone. Yeah, so we really bonded over that. But anyways, and okay, so another thing is I knew going into college, like by the time senior year was approaching, okay, this is like late junior year, senior year is approaching. I knew I seriously have an interest in pursuing art professionally, and I want to do this in college. And I was aware of the fact that I hadn't been drawing since the day I held a pencil, like a lot of the other students, and probably some of y'all listening to this now. I was behind in that regard, as I only really got into this at teen-ish. But I knew I loved this. I felt alive when I did this, and I wanted to do this seriously. My passion was there, and when I've got passionate about something, I go full force in it. So basically, senior year's coming. I wanted to take AP Art. Now, if you're not familiar with AP classes or whatever, basically, an AP course is basically a college course, like literally a college course that you can take in high school, and the school will pay for it and everything. So that way you'll be able to get a little bit ahead of the game once you actually get to university, and you may not have to take like some of the basic courses and waste your time, waste your money. So it was a really great opportunity. And the only problem is to get it, in order to get into this AV art class, you had to get recommended by the art teacher. And at this time, there was only the one art teacher, which just so happened to be my art teacher neighbor that hated me. I remember as the year kind of started wrapping up, you start to hear some of the people say, oh yeah, she recommended me to be in it. Oh yeah, congratulations. Like you start to hear different people get their notice and get their letter, whatever. And I unsurprisingly didn't get anything, and I knew I wanted this, so I went up to her and said, I basically recommended that she recommend me for the AP art class. I won't forget how she was like, sorry, your level and ability just doesn't reach the level of standard that you need in order to take the AP art course. You're just not there yet. You're not good enough. And I remember crying all the rest of the day about that. I had some good friends. Shout out Curtis, who took care of me after my heart being broken like that. And like, even though I knew I wasn't like amazing just yet, my passion was there. And my friends are hyping me up. They're like, of course you're good enough. Like they're missing out on you. And even though I kind of knew she wasn't going to put me in it, obviously, it still hurt. Like being a 16-year-old, 17. No, yeah, I was like 16 at the time. Like being told like you're not good enough at something that you love, like, and that's why I'm so like, side note, that's why I'm so nice. Like I try to be really kind and gentle with teenagers, even when they're driving me crazy. I try to be gentle with them because as adults, our words mean so much to teenagers. Like during that time in their life when like just words mean so much and they can carry a lot of weight. And it's been basically 10 years since this moment, and I still remember it. So I just try to be everybody, please be gentle to teenagers. But yeah, by that summer, so leaving junior year, going into the summer going into senior year, a rising senior, if you will, I remember I did art like pretty much every day, and I improved so much that by the time I got to senior year, she couldn't help but notice my improvement, like how much I've grown and developed as an artist by the time we got back into classes in senior year. And even she was forced to acknowledge that my stuff was good, okay? My stuff was good. And even though it's a little bit like, I mean, as a grown person, looking back at my high school art, like obviously it's a little cringe, but I was proud of myself at the time that I proved it to myself that it doesn't matter what she says or what anybody says. I love this thing and I care about this thing and I'm going to give it my all. And I really saw. And now today, you know, I have my own studio, animation, motion graphics studio I'm running, and I worked with all sorts of large companies doing graphic design, motion graphics and things like that. Like I'm in this. Like I'm in this industry. I'm doing the thing. I hire people to help me sometimes. Like I'm in this industry. I'm in the art industry despite anything that she could have told me. And yeah, that's basically what it was like to have an art teacher who also so happened to be your neighbor. It feels like in this community, in this art community, art space, either we absolutely loved our high school art teacher or we despise them. Y'all know which field I ended up in, but I would love to hear any of you guys' stories. Like, do you guys have any crazy stories in art school? Did they hate your anime style? Like, what type of stories do we have? Like, how was it like for you guys? It would be nice to hear a few stories about you guys loving your art teachers. Like that would be nice. But like, yeah, let me know how your experience with your art teacher in high school was in the comments down below. I hope you'll like the video, subscribe, all of that's a good stuff. I can give you guys, if you're an artist and everything, trying to get into this industry, I'm planning on making lots of content on how to get into it and all my knowledge, yada yada yada. So if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.